This is Hackney, and this street is what the media have dubbed Murder Mile due to the high incidences of gun crimes and shootings. It's the world that I've chosen to set my play in, Elmina's Kitchen. Elmina's Kitchen came out of me seeing a BMW wrapped around a tree in Hackney, where I was living at the time, and later discovering that there were two young black men who had been shot. I don't think I thought about what it would be like writing for a national theatre audience then. Because one of the things I was struggling with a lot of, or some other black work that I was seeing out, was that I felt that it was being written for white consumption, almost. And so I knew that I really wanted to write this authentically. So it could be on the National Theatre stage, but actually I could play it in Hackney and it would be real. And that audience would recognize its authenticity. And so once I was told that it was going to be produced, I then had that huge challenge of, oh my God, are people going to even understand what I've written? And then I began to kind of think, okay, well, if I want to say something that I would say in my community, but the National Theatre audience, for instance, at the time would not understand, well, then all I need to do is translate it. So someone would say, you know what, if he was West Indian, I would say somebody obia him. Well, I don't expect the white audience to understand what obia is. So then I'd just have someone in the next line say, witchcraft? Who say that it's only black people that do witchcraft? So I would have the answer to the question in the next. And that worked fairly well for a while, until I realized, actually, that while I was giving the explanation, that audience member that I was thinking about was probably turning to their friend and saying, what did he say? And had missed. So then I began to develop a technique where actually I would put the explanation in the third line. You know, he would state, there'd be a comment, and then there would be a translation. And actually I lived with that fairly, for a while, and that seemed to work for me. So I would describe that as, I would have a black angel on one shoulder saying, keep it real, brother. And I would have a white angel on the other hand saying, please let me understand what you just said.
How are you going to put your hand on your father and think you're going to live good?
Man lives how he can.
So. Do it then! If your name is man, put your hand on me! No, put your hand on me!
I'd go to barbershops and I'd walk down the street and I'd hand out flyers and things. And people would say, where's the National? And I'd say, it's next door to the Royal Festival Hall. And they'd go, oh, I know where that is. And the reason why the black community knew where the Royal Festival Hall was because, you know, black audiences were used to going there to see music acts, but they were not used to going to the place directly next door. And so I think one of the proudest things, and I think as a statistic that was being bandied about at the time, was that our audiences were almost, I think we got to about 13 or 15% of our audience was black from a very low start. And that was thrilling for me. Because once I knew that it was going to be produced here, that was almost, it was more important that people came to see the play than it was that it was celebrated. It was really important that we felt, and particularly at that time, where we felt really alienated on the whole from the major institutions to which our tax pounds were going towards supporting. But we felt really alienated from them. And so it was really rewarding and actually a fundamental purpose to get black audiences into the National, because otherwise who would I be playing to? The duality that I spoke about earlier on would not have been in existence. It would simply have been me speaking to a white audience about issues that affected my community, and somehow that would not feel right.